Now that we understand the basics and the essentials of Google Slides, in this section we will move on to more design-based elements. First up, we will talk about the text box and the text aesthetics. When you have a layout open, you should be able to click right on it and type in your text because a text box is already provided. So simply click and type it in. Now, let's say that you didn't have a text box. As you can see, without a text box, I can't write any text because there is no place for the words to go. To fix this, you have to add a text box by coming up to this icon with a T inside a box. Now drag the box to however large you want it to be, and you can go ahead and write your stuff inside. I will actually go and add 3 bullet points by coming up to this bullet icon here and clicking on it. And I will add in bullet 1, 2, and 3. Now, the next and most important thing about the text box is that everything that you write is restricted by the size of the box. What I mean by this is that if I want to change the alignment of bullet 2 from this left side to this right side, I will go ahead and click on this alignment button and choose right. Well, as you can see, bullet 2 actually stops right in the middle and never reaches this right end side. This is because this is where the text box stops. If we want to reach the right end edge, we need to drag the text box so that it reaches the edge. And here you can see that once we dragged out the text box, bullet 2 is able to reach where we wanted it to be. Okay, now that we understand text boxes, let's quickly go over text aesthetics. So to do this, I will highlight bullet points 1 and 2, and let's go ahead and start by changing the font. As you can see, you will get a drop-down with the many different fonts that Google Slides offers. But it doesn't just stop there. If you click on more fonts, you will get even more options. So you can take your time and look through these to see which one you like, but I will just go ahead and choose one that I already have, which is Shadows into Light. And since it is a little smaller than our original font, we can increase the size by going over to this and bringing it over to 24. Now we can choose to bold it, italicize it, underline it, and even change the color. So to change the color, we will go over to A, and we will see the same color palette format with the basic colors here, the theme colors, and any custom colors. And for this, I will go ahead and choose this navy blue. Now we can also choose to add a highlight. To do this, I will go over to this highlight color and choose the color of our highlight. Since we had a blue text color, I will use yellow as the highlighting color. Now you might have noticed that my edits only apply to bullet points 1 and 2. This is because I only highlighted those 2. Whenever you highlight something, the edits that you make will only apply to those highlighted parts. This concludes our video on text. In this video, I will go over how to insert special characters. A special character is any character that is not found on the keyboard, and /or is a non-alphabetical and a non-numeric character. My most used special character is actually the degree symbol. If you look down on your keyboard, you will find that you can't find the little degree symbol on it. So let's say that I was talking about the degrees that the oven needs to be set for a certain recipe. So I will write 350, and then to insert the degree symbol, I will go up to Insert and drop down to Special Characters. This will open up a pop-up with a bunch of characters and symbols to choose from. Now, since it is a lot to manually sort through, I always just look it up. So type in degree, and since I am from America, I will use Fahrenheit. When you click on it, you can exit out, and you see that the special character is now inserted. Now, you might have noticed that there was a drawing pad option. So let's go back and talk a little bit more about that. So insert special character. This drawing pad is helpful if you don't know the keyword or how to describe it. So this way you can just draw it out. Since Ratatouille takes place in France, and there is a bunch of French foods with accent marks like crème brûlée, I can draw out the E with the accent mark. Google Slides will then analyze my handwriting and give me results that look similar to what I just drew. So I will click on the first option, and you can see that it appeared. This is how easy it is to insert special characters. Now we will talk a little bit about word art. Word art is a special effects tool that changes the appearance of the text. Here I wrote regular Remy, and if you don't know, it is the name of the main character in Ratatouille. Now, what I mean by regular is that it was done using the regular method. So by making a text box, writing in it, changing the font, the size, and etc. I put this here so we will have something to compare our word art to later. Now, to add our word art, go over to Insert and go down to Word Art and just type in what you want and hit enter. And this is what we get. So now I will go ahead and change the font as well as the font color. So I will make it the same lobster and make it yellow. One thing that we can do with our word art, but not with the regular method, is adding a border to the text. So I can choose a border color, the border width, as well as how I want the border to look. Another thing that is different is that with word art, it doesn't get affected by the text box like how the regular method does. So what I mean by this is if I compress this regular box, you can see that Remy ends up on the second line. But if I compress my word art to the same size, or even a smaller size, you can see that the word shrinks with the text box. And this is how word art differs from regular text. So now you know how to go and insert a word art in your presentation. The next tip is to know the common keyboard shortcuts. Now there are a lot of shortcuts, so I will just quickly go over the most common ones. Since I have a Mac, I will be giving the commands in terms of a Mac keyboard. But if you are a Windows user, I'm pretty certain that you can just replace the command key with the control key and it should give you the same results. Let's start off with a more general slide ones. So first up is Command C for copy, and then Command V for paste. And here we have two of them. Now, when you click on Command Z, that will undo, and Command Y will redo. Now let's move on to more text-geared shortcuts. First up is Command B. This will bold your text. If you do Command I, it will make it italicized. If you do Command U, it will underline it. Now let's move on to subscripts, superscripts, and strike-throughs. To make a text a subscript, you will highlight and then hit on the command and the comma key. If you want to superscript, you will use command and the period. If you want to cross something out or add a strike-through, you will use Command Shift X. There are a lot more keyboard shortcuts, such as how to add a bullet point list, which, if you are wondering, is Command Shift 8. However, as you can see, it isn't exactly an easy shortcut to remember, because where does the 8 even come from? And it is already super easy to access the bullet point function. While there are a lot of shortcuts, I don't think all of them are particularly that useful, so I tend to just stick with the few that I showed in this video. However, if you do want to access the full keyboard shortcuts list, you can just look it up by Googling Google Slides shortcuts. In this video, we will be going over how to insert both photos and videos. First up, let's go over photos. Since we have a slide on Remy, which is the rat, I also want to add a photo to show what he looks like. So I can simply go over to Google Images and look up a photo of what I want. As you can see, I already have an image ready to go, so I can just right-click and go down to Copy Image. And then once your image is copied, you can head back to Google Slides, right-click again, and click Paste. Now, there is also a keyboard shortcut that you can use. If you have a Mac, you can use Command-C to copy and Command-V to paste. And if you have a Windows, you can use Control-C for copy and Control-V for paste. Now, if your picture can't be found on Google, or if you already have a photo saved onto your computer ready for use, you can head over to Insert and hover above Image. As you can see, there are a bunch of different options. We can upload from computer, search from web, insert a photo from either your Google Drive or your Google Photos, insert by URL, or by taking a photo using your computer camera. So just choose the option that will give you access to your photo. So I would just go look for it and open, and it should appear. So don't forget to resize and reposition as you see fit. Alright, now that we know how to add images, let's move on to videos. So for this, I will show you how to insert a video using the Ratatouille trailer as an example. To do this, we will go over to Insert and go down to Video. Now we have the option of searching on YouTube, pasting a URL that we found, or getting videos from your Google Drive. So I will simply look up Ratatouille trailer on YouTube, wait for it to load, click on one, click Select, and it will be inserted. Now on the right, you can see that we have the different formatting options, such as what time we want it to start, what time we want it to end, whether we want it to autoplay once we get to the slide during the presentation, and etc. So we now have a working trailer embedded in our presentation. In the last video, we went over how to insert photos and videos. However, if we want to insert GIFs, that will be done differently. If you don't know what a GIF is, they are just moving pictures. So something like this. Once you find a GIF that you want to insert, you will right-click, go to Copy Image Address, and head back to Google Slides. Now, you can't just paste it right on. You have to instead go to Insert, hover above Image, and go to By URL. Now you will paste the link, and make sure that it shows the correct preview of the GIF that you want to insert, and then click Insert. Wait for it to load and your GIF should appear. So let's resize it. And this is how easy it is to insert a GIF. Let's talk about working with data and how to incorporate this data into your Google Slides presentation. First up, we have tables. To insert a table, go over to Insert and hover above Table. This will give you a side pop-up that lets you choose how many rows and columns that you want your table to have. If you move your cursor to the right, that will increase the columns, and if you move your cursor down, that will increase the rows. And you can actually make your table as big as 20 by 20, but for this example, I will make a table to showcase a make-believe food critique based on the foods found in Ratatouille, so I will just make it a 3 by 3. Let's put the dishes on the rows and the judges on the columns. So for our dishes, we have the signature Ratatouille, or more specifically this, but I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Then next up, we have Remy's potato and leek soup as the second contender. And we can move on to the columns for our judges. So we have Judge A and Judge B. Now, let's say that you realize that you have the dimensions of your table wrong. To adjust this, you will simply right-click on the table, and now you will have the option to insert rows, insert columns, delete rows, delete columns, and etc. So let's say that I wanted to add another judge. So I will actually insert a column to the right. And now we have a new column. And we can label it Judge C. Now that I am satisfied with my table dimensions, I can move on to making it look nicer. So I can go on and add in a fill color to this top to make it stand out a little more by highlighting it and going over to this fill icon and choosing a color. Let's go with this light purple. All right. I can also go ahead and change the alignment of these headers so that they are in the middle instead of on the left. Now, let's say that I also wanted to add a title to this table. I can do so by right-clicking and inserting a row above. Now I can go in and type in food critique. But here we run into a problem. So as of right now, it seems that this title of food critique only applies to Judge A. But I want it to apply to all of the judges in this entire table. So I need to get rid of these cells that are blocking it. What I'll do is highlight it, right-click, and go to Merge Cells. This will change it so that all the cells will combine into one and become one large cell. Once again, we can highlight and change the fill color, maybe this light yellow, and here we have our table. So this is one way to showcase your data on Google Slides.